I'm Dylan Harris, and today I will be presenting a 3D model of the U-2 spy plane incident. Many people may not know what the U-2 spy plane was or what it was used for. So, in its name, of course, it was a spy plane that the Americans used to spy on the Soviets during the Cold War in the 60s. And since this plane had been used so much, it flew so high at about 70,000 feet and 500 miles per hour. It was higher than the average Soviet MiG-16 that was used to try to track it down. And so many missiles could not hit this that it was just used to spy. One day, a man named Gary Powers, who was a CIA agent for this U-2 spy plane mission. This is what he looks like as of today. Had traveled farther into the USSR territory than any other spy plane member has. And so it's headed on in there. And since this plane has been used so much to spy on the Soviets, the USSR has come up with a surface-to-air missile that travels way faster and delivers a more lethal blow to the planes. But since it was still traveling like this high up and the plane's like down here and the missiles are down here, the missile needs a MiG-16 to shadow the U-2 spy plane. So, using this information, the USSR had taken a MiG-16, which I will be presenting right here. A MiG-16 flew it about 30,000 feet under it, and since it was so far up, the MiG-16 could hardly see this plane, and it was used. It basically just set up a gigantic plan to launch missiles at this right here. So basically, what had happened was the MiG-16's like traveling, trying to shatter this, and it finally gets to the plutonium plant that it was looking for. This is what that plutonium plant looked like. That many others had not known about. And it's traveling, it's all the way over here. It's coming, and everything. And it's like flying so fast. It's like going 500, 600 miles an hour. And whenever it gets to this, the missile starts tracking it down, and the MiG-16 has to just has to go and get out. So it does its thing, and then the missile starts tracking the U-2 plane. So it's all the way doing its maneuvers. U-2's doing everything it can to get out of this, and it just impacts. It just explodes right there, and causing the back two wings to shatter off and send the plane into a hurdle downwards. And once Powers had realized that what was happening was actually happening, he tried regaining his calmness, and he basically just ejected out of here, and caused the plane to just crash and go up into flames and everything, just everywhere. And since all of this was happening, Gary Powers had basically just jumped out into enemy territory. There's bases over here, bases right there, everywhere. And they're trying to capture this guy for extensive questioning. So once they finally do capture him, they take him into years of questioning. And the U.S. was like, oh, this is an act of war. So, and they have recovered like all the missiles like right here, and tried to copy them down for the Soviets' own use. So this thing is traveling downwards. He ejects. Say this is him. He just ejects out of there, and he lands down. There's bases like right here. There's bases like right there, and he's like maybe 70,000. He's like he lands 70,000 feet outside of a USSR base, and they take him into extensive questioning and will not give powers back to the U.S. So they think this is like some form of declaration of war that the USSR has declared upon. And so this leads all into the Able Archer 83 mission, which I will probably get more detail into on my next video on YouTube. And it just leads all into everything else. It's such a butterfly effect. But they take him into extensive questioning for at least like 10, no, not even 10, like 5 years. And since this is going on, the U.S. decides to send out a search team for him. And since they done this, they took this plane and copied it for the MiG-16 to be more advanced. And they took Powers, so they took Powers over here, and they put him in 3 years worth of prison for trying to spy on the USSR. And about 4 years later, after Powers gets released, the USSR's leader Nikita and President Bush had found a peaceful way of ending all of this and not having to go into a massive war and everything. So Powers is free. He gets sent home to go see his family, and he's not missing in action anymore. Everything is happy at the very end, but still, this was one of the closest calls to nuclear warfare and World War III that this world has ever seen. All because he wanted to go check out a plutonium plant that the USSR was